full of tricks, wizard. Yet you never once used your greatest weapon.
Why didn't Doctor Strange use the Time Stone in the crucial final moments during the battle against Thanos? Or did he?
Tony. There was no other way.
Fair warning, potential Avengers EndGame spoilers ahead. Whether you subscribe to fan theories of the Soul Stone being pivotal to undoing that fateful snap in Infinity War, or the quantum realm mechanics playing a major key in Endgame, one thing is for certain. Out of all of the quantifiable outcomes Doctor Strange saw in Infinity War, some 14 odd million, only one did he spy that had the good guys come out on top, and it seemed to mean voluntarily giving up the Time Stone. But why?
Went forward in time to view alternate futures, to see all the possible outcomes of the coming conflict.
How many did we win?
One.
Well, thanks to LOL Guru of Reddit for this plausible theory and being kind enough to let me bring it to life. He said, an answer became clear when I remembered certain key details from the Doctor Strange movie. Even with the power to slow, pause, or reverse time, we have seen foes with the ability to ignore the Time Stone's effects, Caecilius and his acolytes. I think the Power Stone would have allowed Thanos to do the same, to bypass the power of the Time Stone. That's why it's the first stone Thanos retrieves. Not only does the Power Stone allow him to contain, control, and amplify the power of the other stones, but also bypass the powers of any stones that could be used against him, in essence overpowering other stones. As we've seen, even the stones be overpowered. Doctor Strange, in viewing many alternate futures, saw the futility of using the Time Stone in their fight and chose to use it differently. Very differently. When Doctor Strange pulls the Time Stone seemingly out of nowhere, like Loki did with the Tesseract, and floats it over to Thanos to save Tony, we can see two unique elements to this transaction. The first is that the stone is glowing brilliantly. Normally, when any of the stones glow like this, it's because their power is being used. The second is that Thanos is unable to grasp the stone physically, but is instead grabbing it on what appears to be its aura. He even shoots Doctor Strange a glance over this peculiar phenomenon. Now, this kicked my fan theory senses into overdrive, and I've been trying to piece it together ever since. Before I can launch into this, let's talk about the unique properties of all the other stones themselves, not their powers, the properties each stone itself possesses.
One to go.
The Power Stone, so full of power, overloads and even destroys living beings coming into direct contact with it. The Space Stone is able to house itself within and propagate the existence of a fourth-dimensional hypercube on a three-dimensional plane of existence. That's what a Tesseract is. The Reality Stone doesn't have to remain a solid and can instead become a liquid, possibly gas or plasma, it's unknown. And the Soul Stone cannot be acquired without trading a soul. The Mind Stone has its own consciousness or can develop consciousness, see Vision. We see that these unique properties tie back beautifully to the identity of each stone and are very well suited to them. So what about the Time Stone? I would postulate that the Time Stone can be sent through time all by itself, going forwards or backwards. Although Doctor Strange didn't talk about peering backwards in time to stop Thanos, he only mentioned going forward. Now, how would you play keep away with the Time Stone? Well, that's easy. You send it forward in time to where Thanos can't get it. The problem is, as comic fans already know, Thanos is immortal, so he can wait it out. So let's swing back directly to the exchange between the two. Doctor Strange conjuring forth the stone the same way as Loki did the Tesseract is a gigantic misdirect. Loki is able to conceal the Tesseract with his godlike powers of illusion, or maybe even dimensions, and while Doctor Strange could certainly be capable of mimicking this easy trick, I don't think that's what's happening. the stone is glowing brilliantly because it's actually traveling back in time from the future. This becomes a lot easier to envision if you've watched Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. When Doctor Strange hid the time stone, it wasn't through some trick of light or illusion like Loki, but by sending it forward in time to be used later. Something he only did when he peered into the future versus his earlier fight where it was still on his person but still cursed, only to be sent back when the Avengers had finished using it. The time stone can travel forward or backwards in time, but not space, and it could appear on Titan soon after the snap presenting itself to Tony, or at a pivotal moment in the future when the Avengers need it. This is also why Tony needs to survive. If the snap is inevitable, then he's the only one smart enough to A, figure out what is going on when the time stone presents itself on Titan, and B, study the stone in order to unlock the quantum realm, the same way the Mind Stone in the Scepter allowed him to create Ultron. This is why the gauntlet breaks from the snap. It's using a time stone from a reality where the Avengers have already won and is sent back in time. The paradox of having a stone from a mutually exclusive reality breaks the gauntlet and helps advance Doctor Strange's plan even further because it cripples Thanos' ability to fight back when the Avengers start mounting their counteroffensive. If you think that's a little bit wild, you gotta remember there's 14 million outcomes, so it's gonna get a little complex. I think the clips from the Infinity War trailer corroborates this. The clip of what looks like Tony taking off his glasses while an out-of-focus Wong and Doctor Strange are in the background, seemingly frozen in time, also doesn't appear in Infinity War, but might have been pulled from Avengers 4, where Tony has acquired the Time Stone and begun looking for ways to retrace his steps or travel in the past. The shots of the Battle of Wakanda containing Hulk also don't appear, but may be from Avengers 4 when they've already gone back in time and must now face off against Thanos and his armies at Wakanda because Hulk wasn't at the original battle. It seems Doctor Strange did use his greatest weapon, just not when we think he did.
Tony. There was no other way.
Hey, fellas. Hey, wait, where are you going? Hey, you were supposed to be my lift home. How will I get out of here? Hey, gee, I've got so many more stories to tell. Guys. Oh, gee.